A non-royal but very royal looking tour underway in Australia, and Queen Mary in mourning. As this is our very first episode, I think we need to explain who we are, why we're doing this. Firstly, I'm Natalie Oliveri, as we know. I know who I am. I'm a royal reporter at nine.com.au, and I have been covering the royals for nearly 2 decades, as scary as that sounds. And you, of course, Nicole Douglas, my editor, and I can hear from your voice that you are British, so you obviously have a very strong connection with the royal family because of that. Am I right?
I'd say I'm perhaps royal adjacent. I grew up a stone's throw away from the palace. No, I didn't. I lived in a shared house in Hackney, but I visited the palace a number of times on a little excursion. And I've loved the royals for years. I absolutely adore them. The Queen came to our university. My best friend did a contemporary dance to her, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I'm obsessed.
I'm just trying to picture your friend dancing for the Queen. That sounds amazing. But also, not many people get to have the Queen visit their university. That's a pretty special thing that you have as a claim to fame, I guess.
I know. And Philip and Kate. And also Richard III's funeral. I went to that. Can you believe that?
Richard III, the man the king who died hundreds of years ago.
They found him in Leicester.
That's right.
And
the shopping centre car park. So you went to his funeral.
Yeah. So basically I am royal family.
That is amazing, actually. But look, we're talking today because Harry and Meghan are in town, and we have to speak about this huge topic because, we don't get a royal visit to Australia every day. So we have to talk about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. It's been 8 years since they were last here, but this visit is so different from their last time when they were working members of the royal family. Now, some have suggested they're grifters, some have suggested they're out just to make money. I haven't used that word. But look, the tour began in Melbourne on Tuesday, and as cynical as I can be about some aspects of Prince Harry and Meghan's lives, the tour has been a success. There were beautiful moments at the Children's Hospital in Melbourne with the Duchess crouching down to speak to very sick children, and they were smiling and they looked so happy to have a royal visit, and I thought that was really, really lovely to see. What do you think? What do you make of it?
I'm a bit unnerved with your warm heart right now, because normally you are so cynical about many of the royals, but I agree. I think it was lovely. It was really nice. Everybody showed up. There was a certain buzz in the air, and it was so just lovely to see everybody waiting. Like, we were all in the office waiting by the TV like it was the World Cup final. Like, it was absolutely... Yes. We were like, where is Harry? Where is Meghan? And they walked in. It was just this lovely thing. And I think that's the main thing we get from these royal visits, even though it's not technically royal. I am yet to see a difference between a royal visit and this one.
Yeah, well,
it's good.
I think, like, when you said that we're all in the office crowded around the TV, that's because the media positions for some of Harry and Meghan's events are so tightly controlled, far more than any other royal tour that I've covered. And I think that is a big difference. Harry and Meghan are very controlling of their image. They have a certain amount of media, a very small group that they're travelling with. And so it's all very selected, I guess, in advance.
You went to see Princess Anne?
I went to see Princess Anne a few times.
Nothing like
Queen Mary recently. I had access to her to a lot
Queen Mary,
more.
But do you think she's as important as...
I think Mary is far more important than Harry and Meghan, especially when her tour was a state visit. Harry and Meghan's is not even a royal tour, and there's a massive difference. But I think Harry and Meghan, they are getting so much publicity, even though the access for the media isn't as much as a regular royal visit. So I think they're doing very well so far. It's looking very successful. They still have a few more days left. Do you think the interest is going to sort of be sustained until they leave?
I think it will, because I know you went to the Queen Mary visit recently. I will say, in the UK, nobody really knows who Queen Mary is. I know it's controversial because as soon as I came here, everyone was like, oh my God, Mary. I was like, have we got a new queen? I'm so confused who she is. And then I heard her story of meeting in the pub, and we all thought, God, that could be me. And it was fantastic. Every woman's dream. It could still happen. You never know.
Could still happen.
I'm still waiting. I'm down the Coogee path. No, I'm sorry. I'm not.
Well, that's where Meghan is, actually, down at
there
Coogee.
she is.
She's going to be at Coogee. And that's one of the things that people are very critical about this particular royal visit, is because there are, I guess, very high financial motivations for this visit. Harry and Meghan, they stepped back as working royals 6 years ago. So they have to make money. They have to fund their Montecito mansion, their mortgage. They have to pay the bills. They have to pay the security bills because they don't get that taxpayer-funded security anymore. Do you think, though, that it's a bit unfair to criticise them for coming out here to make money when they don't really have any other options?
100%. I will rally for Meghan and Harry until the ends of the earth. I think they are a fantastic couple and a good example of, like, if you don't like something, get out. If you don't like a toxic place to be in, get the hell out. And now they're always criticised. They cannot do anything right. Like, if they're just trying to make a bit of money. As ever, is such a successful brand. I would give anything to have a jar of that jam on this desk right now and me and you just sharing between us. Like, it would be fantastic. I think she's doing everything right. She's not done anything weird. The event that is coming up, the Coogee event, which, for those who aren't aware, because, well...
Not everyone follows them as closely as we do.
And not everyone will have paid the $3,000 it's going to cost for people to attend this event. But yes, Meghan will be going to the Intercontinental?
The Intercontinental, I think it's had a big makeover. And, you know, Rick Stein's restaurant is there. That's a new, I guess, a draw card for the place. But I've heard a lot of people say that, look, it's a very, very far cry from the Palace Ballroom, the beautiful drawing rooms of Windsor Castle. Meghan is now going to a function room in a hotel. And tickets are $3,000 to sit there with her for an hour. We don't even know how long she's going to be there. I think it's going to be about an hour and a half at the most before she goes to the football with Harry. But look, I think it's a lot of money for people to pay. And I think it's crazy because those who can afford it are the only ones who will be going to it. And really, who can afford $3,000 for a couple of nights away? And Meghan's not even there for the whole thing. But also the problem I have with this tour or this speaking event really is that we've heard Meghan speak about her life so many times, I've lost count. We've heard her speak about the royal family so many times, I've lost count. So I don't really know what else she has to say. She's had a podcast. Well, she's had 2 podcasts, really. So I guess I don't know what people are going to get out of it. I think if the Princess of Wales did it...
Oh, come on, that would be even worse. That would be even more bland. That would be ridiculous. But you never know. Coogee brings a lot of weird people out. I think once she's in Coogee, maybe she goes down to the Pav for a couple first. You know what I mean? And then she'll come out and then she might spill the beans on something crazy. She might admit something amazing. Like, this is not an environment where anybody else... I think it's like... I imagine it's going to be people go in. Have you ever heard of Berghain, the club in Berlin?
No.
Well,
I'm not cool enough for that.
Let me tell you, that is good. It's good. I did go there long ago, but it's weird.
It's another story.
I know, it's bizarre. But they only let a certain few people in. It's very exclusive. You have to look the part. Anyway, that's another story for another time. But I got in, and then as soon as you get in, they take your phone, they put a sticker over the top. You can't take any photos. You can't do anything.
Right.
This is going to be a time when Meghan can sit there. She can say what she wants, because I think every one of the people in this room are just going to be silent. They can't let journalists in. They're not letting any journalists in.
No.
Did you read about that?
Yeah, and also, like, you have to have a full security screening. And apparently the organisers have actually been checking your social media accounts to see who you are. I did register for a ticket initially, and then I got to the stage where I was invited to buy a ticket, invited to pay the $3,000.
An honour.
I declined. But the thing is, like... it's going to be interesting, but I do think it's just a shame that it's going to be so quick. And but we will hear stories from it, even though there is a complete media blackout. I do think things will sort of be leaked about what she actually says.
A demure version of events.
Yeah,
I think.
And I think also surely the whole thing's going to be recorded and then sent out later for a big promotion. So we'll find out the amazing things that the Duchess is going to be saying.
Is there anyone that you would pay $3,000 to see?
If we're talking about royals, I would pay to see the Princess of Wales, Catherine.
Well, she'd never do it, but it would be a great time.
That's
the thing. It would be good.
Obviously, my favourite royal, Queen Mary, I'd pay to see her cut a ribbon, really.
Yeah. If she did that in London for £50, I don't think anyone would. Sorry, I'm so rude.
Just because she's not as high profile as the Duchess of Sussex. But yeah, I would pay to see other royals do it. There are many other royals in Europe who actually do what Meghan what Meghan does. They have a job. They have a job away from the royal family. Meghan's not the only one making money. You know, the Swedish royals, that Princess Madeline, she has just launched a skincare line. Could you imagine if Meghan was doing that?
No,
There'd
that
be
would be
so much
outrageous.
criticism.
Yeah,
but
if
look
she did
at
that.
Madeline. She is the daughter of the king, and she's not a really full-time working royal, so she can do that. But the difference here is that she uses her private name, Madeline Bernadotte, right? That is her name. She's not Princess Madeline of Sweden. So I think that the anger around Harry and Meghan, particularly because they are making money in Australia, is because they are being sold, their events are being sold off the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They're not just Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
But they've been through so much. They deserve the titles to give them a bit of pizzazz, if I'm honest. If I was, I don't know, if I was named Dame and then I left the damehood, I'd still be like Dame Nicole rocking around. Like I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think I would be using my royal title if I had it as well. But I think I'd probably stop whinging so much about how tough life was in the royal family.
They've had it tough. They have had it tough. They've had a rough ride.
I'm sure things were tough, but did they need to speak so vocally about it on more than one occasion? Did they need to keep going?
Yes, they did, but that's another story for another day. I did want to ask you, in particular, would you buy any of Meghan's as ever products?
Well, it's interesting because that's apparently a main reason why they are here this time. The Duchess, she, on day 2 of the tour, Wednesday, she didn't make any public appearances. Harry was in Canberra, Harry was in Melbourne, but Meghan was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, but she's jet-lagged.
Oh, poor
she's
jet-lagged.
And she needs, like, have you done that flight?
I have done that flight.
Insanity. How she managed to go straight to Melbourne afterwards. And she looked good.
She looked absolutely incredible.
I'd be dead to the world.
Yeah, look, they flew business, so they would have had a reclining seat and some time to sleep. They didn't fly economy.
Yes, but it wasn't a private jet.
It wasn't a private jet.
They are one of us.
They
just
are
in business. I've never been, but yes.
I did hear that they were talking to other passengers near the toilets. So you know they are.
I know they use the same toilets as all of us. I think that's really respectable.
Yes, and I
wouldn't have seen it coming. Yeah,
I do like Meghan more now that I know she's used a toilet with a regular person.
Yeah, just that tiny, like what a legend. What a legend.
But as for her products, I should say, I think I would definitely be trying Meghan's products if they launch in Australia, because apparently she's going to be doing that soon. She's got the trademarks for the as ever jams, flour sprinkles, shortbread mixes. Hopefully the wine will be included amongst her offerings.
Yeah. We will have a tasting tray.
I do want to try it all. You know, I watched With Love Meghan when it was on Netflix. So I watched every episode. And I even made her one pot pasta.
That's outrageous that you did that.
Yeah, I know. Actually, and my sister actually made it the same night as me. We hadn't coordinated it, but it just turns out that we were both inspired by Meghan and wanted to try out.
See, I remember at the time, Nat, that you were saying this is the worst show ever. It's not good. And now looking at making the one pot pasta, it's absolutely. She gets into your head. Meghan gets into your head.
She inspires me.
Consciously inspires everyone. I think that's what we need to take.
She does inspire me to elevate my life. I think initially, if the products do launch in Australia, they will be hugely successful. But I don't know how long that sort of brand loyalty will be sustained. Because once you try it, it depends. If it's good enough, you'll buy it again. But it also could be quite expensive.
But I had Kylie Minogue's wine last night.
And what's that like?
Oh, I always buy it. It's absolutely gorgeous. But once you know, and it's got her name on it, I'm like, Kylie's wine, you can't go wrong. And I think the same will be said when Meghan's wine comes in. That's Meghan Markle.
I've actually seen Dolly Parton's wine too. I haven't tried that, but I'm curious. I want to know, what do you think King Charles and the Prince and Princess of Wales would make of it all?
God, I'd love to be a fly on the wall, wouldn't you? I'd love to. I often think, but I always often think like what they actually do day to day, because I'm like, I can't imagine like Will and Kate getting up and like watching a bit of Netflix, popping a podcast on and doing that, and then just sitting down like, oh, what's my brother doing now? Like I can't imagine the scene, but I reckon they'd just be like, I reckon like being a royal must be quite boring a lot of the time and having to do this. So I think they probably feel a bit envious. They probably feel a bit like, wow, they're getting to do all this good stuff, and like we just have to cut ribbons and do all of this. And I reckon they'd just be like,
It's interesting when you say that they might be envious, especially William and Catherine, because they have been rumoured to be planning an Australian visit for years now. They haven't been here.
Fuming.
2014 was the last time they
Was
came
it
to
really?
Australia. It's been a long time. So it's interesting that Harry and Meghan have actually been here twice since William and Kate. So I guess, are Prince Harry and Meghan stepping on the royal family's toes by coming here again?
Stepping on the toes or becoming elite
No.
Australian legends. They'll be in a bucket hat and they'll be in a bloody, I don't know, having a pint of VB in no time.
I think Harry and Meghan do need to have a successful time in Australia, because I really don't know what they're going to be doing next. I mean, their life is really just appearing at speaking events and appearing at award ceremonies in the US.
Isn't that the best life ever?
It's a pretty
Minimal
good life,
work,
yeah. Well, they're going
maximum
back to,
output.
They're going back to the UK for the Invictus Games in a year's time.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it'll be good.
What
but
a couple.
I don't know.
What a bloody couple. But what are the other royals doing that is any more thrilling? Like
Very
Meghan
good
and
point.
Harry, they made their decision and they've not tried to backtrack or anything like that. They've come over here. They're just here to make money. They're here to do their bits. Harry's still doing some wonderful charity things. Meghan is doing the same thing. I think it's just magnificent, and it's a masterclass in how you make a decision, even in a high-profile position like that. You leave and then you continue. Like, how much backlash have they received over the years? And they just keep going and they keep riding it. I think they're absolute legends. And I think Australia, the amount of people that were in that children's hospital the other day, I didn't know so many people were going to turn up with signs, and it was the most lovely thing, and they greeted them all with it was just so lovely. But that isn't the only royal news around. Let's have a little look at what else is making headlines.
Nicole, one of the other big royal stories of the week is that of Queen Mary and her father passing away. John Donaldson very sadly died in Hobart. He was 84 years old. And I think what is really, really touching about this particular passing is that Queen Mary was able to spend some time with her dad for the last time when she was in Hobart during the state visit in March. So she was able to say goodbye. Her dad hadn't been able to visit her in Denmark for some time because of his age and his health. And the Queen shared a black and white photo that she had taken of her dad just on the very last day that she had in Tasmania before she returned to Denmark. And I think it's really sad, but also so many Aussies are sending messages of condolence to her, and we're expecting the Queen to come back to Australia soon for the private funeral, and perhaps even the King Frederick, and their children, because he does have a lot of grandchildren. Do you you said that you don't know a whole lot about Mary. Well, you didn't before you came to Australia. What do you think now? I mean, do you sort of feel an affection for her?
Oh, yeah. I only have to look at you sometimes to know how much love you have for Mary. And I've realised that the whole country absolutely adores her in that story. So that hearing that was very, very sad. But I know, having her come back to the country and hopefully have the best send-off with all of her family will be amazing.
Because, I mean, so many Australians will remember the moment where he walked her down the aisle on her wedding day, and they were walking together down the aisle of Copenhagen Cathedral, and Frederick was at the end and he was in tears. It was just so emotional. And I think we've followed Mary's story from the start, and her dad, John, was there from the very beginning. He moved to Denmark to live sort of near her to help support her on her royal journey, and now that journey for him has ended. We wish her and her family all the best there, but that's not the other royal story.
That is not the other royal story. From sadness to, I don't even know how to describe it, but King Charles is heading to the US in a couple of weeks with Camilla. The question is, obviously we know why he's going, it's going to be a state visit, but will he see our lad Harry and Meg's?
Back to Harry and Meghan again.
Yeah, I can't stop.
You are obsessed. I think, no, I don't think King Charles will be seeing his son when he goes to the US because he doesn't have time. He's only going to be there with Queen Camilla for a few days. New York, Washington, D.C. and Virginia. And Harry and Meghan live in California. So although I guess it sounds like, not a long way for us in Australia, but it's actually quite a fair distance between California and the other side of America. But look, I think so many people want to know, will Charles see Harry, because that means will he see his two grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet? You do forget about them because they're not really in the public eye. Meghan does love to share every moment of their lives on Instagram.
The back of the head shot, loved it.
Yes, we never see their faces. But I don't think Charles will be seeing Archie and Lilibet this time around, unfortunately.
I think you're being a bit cynical, if I'm honest. I think it's the perfect time. I think we're going to see, we're probably not going to see it, but they'll just have a little cheeky meet up, a couple of wines, and hope for the best. Speaking of wine, we're going to go get one right now. We will be back in a few weeks with our first full episode of the vodcast, the Royal Briefing. So you can catch it on 9.com.au and on YouTube.